Hi, y'all. My name is Mary Catherine Marston. I am the librarian at Couch Elementary. This is my first year serving as the librarian, and it is so much fun. I previously taught 5th grade math and science for 3 years and kindergarten at Beaver for 1 year. I truly believe in meaningfully incorporating technology into the classroom and not just using technology for the sake of using technology. Just to give you some background on the technology available at my campus, for students, most classrooms have 4 student computers, and we have multiple sets of iPad carts and a Chromebook cart available for checkout. I'm super excited that y'all are here with me today to learn about Canva. Our moderator is Lucero Rodriguez, and she is our moderator, so you will see her commenting and facilitating the chat that is to the right of the webinar video. Lucero is the 2nd grade teacher at Cooper Elementary, so you can go ahead and introduce yourselves. A webinar does have a slightly different format and feel due to the fact that we are not face-to-face. If you would, please take a moment to introduce yourself with your name, campus, and grade in the chat box to the right of the video. Throughout the webinar, I'll ask a few questions so that viewers can share ideas. I will pause after asking questions in order to give you some time to respond and so that I can read and discuss your answers. Additionally, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer them throughout the webinar or at the end. Be sure to stick around until the end to obtain your CPE credit. At the end of the webinar, Lucero will post a link to a Google form for you to fill out. This webinar will showcase how to use Canva. Canva is an amazing and free resource that makes anyone look like a graphic designer. It can be used by adults and students, but I definitely recommend that it would be used by 4th grade students and up. I've used it with great success with my 5th graders, and I know that older students can handle it as well. You can access Canva from a web browser or by using the iPad app. I personally think it is easier to access via the web, but for quick and easy access or smaller projects, definitely the app would work. Today we will be working with Canva through Google Chrome, but the iPad app has a very similar feel and the functions are the same. Using Canva will allow you and students to create and design resources that are aligned with the creative communicator and innovative designer ISTE standard. As educators, we want our students to meaningfully use technology to demonstrate competency towards learning goals and the TEKS. Canva is a great tool that will allow students to creatively present information. Canva is also aligned with the Technology GISD monthly focus for February through April, which is student creation on devices. By using Canva, teachers can also bring in digital citizenship with students. Canva will be a great way to discuss students' digital rights and responsibilities when it comes to personal expression. So I actually found this graphic pre-made on Canva. I thought it was a great representation just kind of what Canva can do. And it says, did you know the term graphic design was first coined in 1922 by William Addison Dwiggins? So it's actually graphic design. The term hasn't been around for that long, but we know it's been around for hundreds of years. So Canva is an amazing and most importantly free resource that makes anyone look like a graphic designer. I have used Canva to create posters, handouts, graphics, awards, student and parent resources, and so much more. I have no background in graphic design. I've only ever taught elementary school, so this is something that has taken some practice and some time for me to learn, but Canva has greatly aided me in doing that. So here's a sample of some of the things that I have created using Canva. I've made driving question posters to go with projects just to get kids excited about the project. I would have these displayed in my classroom. I've also made just different awards, like you see on the left. And then on the right, I made a journal cover to go with a resource that we were using in class. Some of these things I came up with purely on my own. Other things that I looked through Canva for some inspiration, and I can show you how to do that as well during our webinar. I've made some motivational posters like this top one. I made super quick before school one day. I just needed something to go with work that was being displayed in the hallway, and so it was super easy to take care of. If you follow me on Twitter, my Twitter header was actually created using Canva. That's one thing that would be great, especially for some of our high school classes, whether they're focusing on marketing or different things like that. Also, it was really great to tie back into kids' digital footprint, what they display everywhere, including Twitter, even their Twitter or Facebook header says a lot about who they are. I've made just different handouts to give out to parents or other teachers. This was from a workshop that I did a couple years ago. Okay, so as you can see, Canva does allow you to do a variety of different things. So what are some programs that you or students currently use to create resources for your classroom? There are a ton of digital resources out there that allow for you and students to create materials. In addition to Canva, the other main platform that I use is the Google Suite. I make a decision on which platform to use based on how many pictures or graphics I'm going to use. If I want something that is more bold and eye-catching, I tend to use Canva, especially if it's going to have lots of graphics, if it's something that I want printed in color. But then for projects that are more text-based, I may use one of the Google products like Google Slides or even Google Docs. One thing that I really like about Canva is that you do not have to create a username and password for each student or for yourself, which saves you one step and eliminates all of those pesky "what's my username" and password questions. When students go to Canva, which is www.canva.com, then you can log in with Google. You would do that by selecting this green dropdown and then log in with Google. When I actually made my account, this was not an option yet with Canva, so my login process is just slightly different. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Okay. So whenever you log into Canva, this is what you will see every single time. This is your homepage, okay? We'll go over all of the different features of the homepage, but first I'm going to show you how to get started and how to create a design. So up at the top, it says create a design. It has some examples of the different things that you can create. It also showcases the sizes underneath. But if I click more, it's going to give me all of the options that Canva has. So there's posters, presentations, email headers, invitations. I've used those for some personal things before, even baby shower invitations for school. Down towards the bottom, they have different marketing materials that would be helpful for like some of your high school classes or for classes where you might have kids working on a project. Here's the social media headers like I was describing earlier. They have them for like Facebook or Twitter, Google+, different invitations. So really the sky is the limit as to what you can create with Canva. You can also use custom dimensions, and so you can enter your width and height in different formats in pixels, millimeters, or inches. For today's purposes, we are going to go ahead and use the poster design or pre-made design. And what I like to do is if I'm making something for a regular size piece of paper that's either vertical or horizontal, I would use the poster or presentation just depending on which layout that I need it. So to get started, you're going to select poster. So Canva gives you the option to either start with a blank design, or here on the left side, it gives you layout inspiration. Sometimes if I'm working on something that I have no idea what I want it to look like, I'm going to scroll through this inspiration or these different layouts to look for something that I could take and then customize. You can customize the colors, the fonts, pretty much anything and everything about it. So that's one thing that's really nice, and that has really helped me as far as creating and designing things, because like I said, I'm not a graphic designer, but I feel like sometimes my stuff looks pretty good or much better than it could due to this inspiration piece over here. Okay. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and click on this one that says cheer tryouts. One thing to note is it does say free down here. That means that all of the elements in this layout are free. If you scroll down, typically quite a ways, you'll get to where there are some inspiration pieces that have paid elements to it. One thing that I like about Canva is that it doesn't charge you to use that layout if you delete the pieces from it that are paid. And we'll take a look at what that looks like in just a little bit. So in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a zoom button so that you can see what you're working with a little bit more clearly. Okay. So whenever you select a something that has been pre-created, you can double click and edit it just like you would any document, okay? So for example, I'm gonna change it to my school. Okay, so you can change the font. You have all of your font editing tools at the top, so you can change the font. You can change the size. Okay, you can even change the color. And it does allow you to pick other colors as well. You have a color picker. And you can arrange it to send it forward or back by clicking on arrange. It really just basically follows a lot of your common editing tools as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and change my font because that one is too big for the space that I'm working with. Okay. And you are able to manipulate it and move it around as well. Okay. So maybe instead of cheerleading, we're getting ready for UIL. So I'm going to change this to say UIL tryouts. And then clearly this megaphone here does not work for what I need, okay? One thing about though, the different elements like this, you can change the colors after you have it selected. But for today, I don't need the megaphone. So I'm going to select it and then I can click delete. I can use delete on the keyboard. I can click the trash can in the top right-hand corner, or I can just simply drag it off of the page and then I don't need it. And notice that megaphone was actually covering up this heart in the middle. I like how it has these white things around it, so I'm going to look for something else to cover it up. So if I go to the left side, I might do a search, and let's say I want to look for a book to find an image. So I'm going to push enter. And there's all of these different elements that pop up. One thing I really like about Canva is that it has a ton of free photos for you to actually use that are super high quality, they aren't blurry, and you're allowed to use them without worrying about copyright issues. Okay, so here, like these books, they're really nice, but it doesn't really go with the look and the feel of the poster that I'm looking for. Okay, so I can drag it off to the side. If I keep scrolling, I see lots of different good options. Okay. And then there are some that actually say pro right here. And what that means is that it comes with their professional account. So you're not able to access that at this time. Okay. Unless you had a paid account. Then there's some other options here that say $1. Okay. What I do like about Canva is, let's say there's a graphic that I'm looking for that I can't find that it is free. But there's one that I absolutely love that I would like to use. Guess what? I don't have to sign up for an account or pay, $20 or $30 for a year-long subscription to Canva. I pay my $1 and then I have it checked out, okay? Or not checked out, but it's added to my work and then I'm able to use it. Okay, so this isn't quite what I'm looking for. I found something up at the top that I liked a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to take this green one, this green book. It's a little big. Okay, that still doesn't quite cover what I'm looking for. So I might have to end up deleting those, and that's okay. Okay. Also on the left-hand side, besides pictures, we've already explored the layout. We have these elements here, okay? So that's another way you can access those free photos. And then you can also bring in just different icons and objects and lines and things like that. So if I click on lines, there's all different things that I could add. Maybe I would like to add an arrow just to emphasize the dates that this is taking place. So I can add my arrow, select the color, I can change the color. Another thing that I like is it says document colors, and it has a list of the colors that are being used frequently throughout this project. If it's different from the colors that come standard in the default palette. I'm going to change it to match the background that's up there. Okay. Another feature that I like in Canva, one thing that is really makes your design look a lot stronger is by having fonts that kind of balance each other and play off of each other and look really nice together. So Canva has done that work for you. And here you can see there's groupings of different fonts so that you can emphasize different things. Okay, so another feature of Canva that is really great when you're working on your design, what you can do is you can actually copy this page. So let's say maybe you wanted the exact same thing, but you wanted to be able to translate it to Spanish. Then you have everything exactly in its place, and then you could go in and translate it. I've done this several times, just producing things for the library, especially some information that I had going out to parents looking for volunteers. I created something and then I had somebody translate it for me, and then they helped me out with that. And so the graphics looked exactly the same, and just the wording was different. Okay. If I do not want that page, then I would select this trash can on the right side that says delete, or so I can do that. Then the other thing that you could do is, let's say you wanted to do a multi-page document or something like that. So you can click add new page at the bottom. It is going to go ahead and keep the background the same, but it gives you a blank canvas to work with. So in order to change the background, on the left side, you would go to background. There's all different kinds of patterns that you can choose from to add to your page. Like there's the watermelon, that's really fun. You can change the color. You can change the color of it too. Once you have the background pattern selected that you want, then you have the page selected, you can click on the color at the top, and then you can change the color. Okay. So there's a lot of different patterns that you can use. One I like to use a lot, it's very subtle, but it does make a big impact, is this. It's like a black and gray kind of gradient. It might be hard for you to see, but it is a little bit lighter in the middle, and then it gets darker as you go out. And like I said, it's very subtle, but it's one of those things that will take your design to the next level. So you can also, with that, change the color. So maybe instead of black, if that's too much for you or what you're working on, you can change it to blue. You can see how it's darker around the edge. And if that's not quite the blue that I'm looking for, you can use the color picker. And you can either search for something on your own, or if you're like me and want things to match exactly, sometimes you can find the color code for whatever color it is that you would like for it to match, okay? The last feature over here on the left side that's really nice is uploads, and you are actually able to upload your own image. This is something that I love, especially when I was using Canva to create some materials for like my kindergarten classroom. I was able to upload pictures of what their stations were supposed to look like and things like that to make my posters, to go with each station. So you can also upload your own photos, or if there's something that you needed, like I have some icons for different apps that we might be using that Canva doesn't have, then you can put those in there as well. So far, do I have any questions about how to edit a design? Okay, so one thing that I love about Canva that I haven't talked about yet is the fact that Canva is like Google and it automatically saves your work, which is so really wonderful, especially when you're working with younger students or students that just are not in the habit of saving their work. So whenever you're finished with a project and you're happy with the way that it looks, if you click at the top, you can rename your design. So I could change this to say UIL tryouts and then select done. So Canva automatically saves your work, and then there are several things that you can do with it, okay? One thing is I love the sharing capabilities of Canva. It's very similar to Google or the Google Suite in respect to that. So one thing is after you click that share button, when you click on people, you can type in somebody's email address, okay? If you are sending this to another Garland ISD employee, that's totally fine, but just make sure that you let them know that you're sending it because most likely it is going to get caught in their securance filter. There is a workaround that, and I'll show you in just a minute. Okay. You can share it socially. So let's say I just created this graphic. I'm in charge of my school's Twitter, or I want to push something out to Twitter so my students could see it. Then I can write a caption to go with it and click share now. And if it's linked with my Twitter account, it'll automatically publish it. This is that workaround that I was talking about for if you're emailing it within district. So what you can do is it'll just give you a link that you can copy and paste into your email or a Google URL shortener, and you can actually edit it, or you can view, you can give them editing rights or view only rights. Okay, and so depending on which one you choose, it'll change that link, and then they'll be able to do what you would like. And then the last feature is embedded or embed. If you wanted to embed this like on a website or something like that that you are working on, but you also have to make sure that you make your design public. Right now, my design is private because I don't want anybody else to see it, or I don't think that other Canva users need to be seeing it. Okay. If you do share your design with somebody else in the district or that has a Canva account, then it will show in their shared file. That is one perk of using the share capability instead of just the link. Okay. And I'll show you how to access that shared folder in just a minute. So those are your sharing capabilities. Then there's also this one here that says download, okay? So if you select download, it gives you several different choices. It'll give you PDF, print, standard. I always do the print, then the one where it says recommended for PDFs because that's going to give you the highest quality. Then there's also, you can do it as photos, like for JPEG or PNG files, just depending on where or how you are printing this. Okay. So once you select download, it'll automatically download to your computer. Okay. When you are finished, like working on this design, let's say I've downloaded it, or even if I want to come back to it later, I just don't have time to finish it right now. Whenever I'm done, I can just click the X on that tab. When I go back to it'll still have my other Canva tab open. I can go back to my home by clicking the X here. And then you can see all of my designs down here at the bottom. So you can go back and access anything. As you can see, I have quite a few things here. So far, I have not discovered that it has a storage limit or anything like that. So that's also something that's really nice. Okay. On this left side here, there is like a toolbar for you to be able to use. So right now it's on All My Design. If I click on Shared with You, I'm going to see some different things that have been shared with me by other people that I've worked with in the district. But it could also be from somebody outside the district if somebody else had sent me something. And that's where you would go see anything that has been shared with you, or if you shared it with a teammate, then they could access it through that tab there. Okay, there's also options to upgrade, different things like that. Okay. Um, this is kind of the last thing that I'm going to touch on. I personally have not used this or used this with students, but I know of two teacher friends of mine that taught Canva to some kids at Camp JISD over the summer. They taught all of their students how to use Canva, even I think all the way as young as second grade. And one thing that they did is they clicked on this Learn to Design tab, and it'll give you, there's all these different like mini classes that you can select, and it's like tutorials that'll show you how to do those different topics. Okay, so like let's say you were working on wanting to add pictures and grids to Canva, and you can do that because that is an option. There are editing photo editing capabilities in Canva, so it'll show you how to enhance image and photo filters. Um, all different kinds of things that you can do. So these are short little tutorials, so it would be great if you wanted to learn something else, or if there's something specific that you wanted students to be able to learn how to do. Okay, and now we are back here just kind of at our home page. So what are some ways that you could possibly use Canva in the classroom? Personally, I've had some students produce some graphics to go along with some projects that they've done. When I taught fifth grade, they had a survival kit or disaster preparedness kit that they had to create to go with our unit over landforms and fast and slow changes to our surface. And so I actually had some students produce a poster that had photos of the different elements of their disaster preparedness kit, had how much it would cost, and so they kind of did some advertising to go with it. So that's just one way I had my students use it. So thank you so much for joining us today and learning with us about Canva. If you have any questions over Canva or anything techie, please send me a tweet. My Twitter handle, I thought I had it in here, but I think it is actually missing. So my Twitter handle is at MK Marston, and then I will put my email address on here as well. I'm sorry, I was drawing a blank. So here is my email address. If you have any questions over Canva and how to use it in the classroom, then please feel free to contact me. Oh, and I see Bonnie has joined our chat, and so she said that she would use it for students to show evidence of learning, and they can create posters about what they've learned, which is kind of like what I talked about. Oh, and I also love the idea of using character or making a poster for character traits. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Lucy has posted the CPE credit link on the right-hand side of our video. So thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon.